Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another Beer Dad Reviews with me, Dave the Beer Dad. Now, I'm not reviewing a beer today. I just want to go through a bit of an article that I've read in Merseyale, and it's basically titled "The Independent Beer Bubble is About to Burst." I just want to read this to you, just to give you a bit of perspective about how big corporate conglomerates, SAB Miller, AB InBev, Heineken, big companies like that are slowly but surely wangling their way into the craft beer business, and not because they are making it themselves. Okay, so just listen to some of the stuff I've got to say here, well, out of this article, and when I finish and uploaded it, feel free to have a discussion in the comments box below. Okay, so it reads as again, forgive me for not looking at the camera, I'll do as best I can. So, across the United Kingdom, small breweries are refreshing, reviving and reinventing beer as we know it. There's now a vast choice of beers, from Czech Pilsner styles to Golden Ales to Zingy IPAs and double IPAs. Again, we've seen on the many videos that you see on YouTube, thousands and thousands and thousands of beers. And that's going right through to export porters, imperial stouts. In some pubs, it's hard to decide what to drink, as there's such a variety on offer, and that's certainly true in big cities in England. The number of independent UK brewers has grown 65%, from 1,026 in 2011 to around 1,700 today, more per capita than in any other nation in the world. Such rapid growth was made possible by tax reliefs introduced by Gordon Brown as Chancellor in 2002, and it was further fueled by the shift in attitude towards beer, with many people seeking out new and renewed styles of beer, helped by the desire of small breweries to experiment with those styles. All right. So it's an interesting time to be a beer drinker. I couldn't agree more with that statement, actually. As I've said, I piped up this week about major supermarkets, Asda for one, expanding their craft beer range, which is, as I said last night in last night's review, it's only good for the consumer. Anyway, continuing on with this. So are these times about to end? Signs from across the Atlantic Ocean suggest that a change in independent beer scene is on its way. The independent beer scene in the US is currently getting a bit of a shake-up. The brewing industry there has also seen a great expansion, with many small breweries opening in most major towns and cities, but there's also been failures and closures similar to those that we've had here in recent years. Tony Ford from Ale Street News, the US beer newspaper, suggests that the industry is being squeezed, with the sales of beers such as Sam Adams and Sierra Nevada, with their sales falling in 2016. This is combined with the takeover pressures from within the industry. Ford suggests that many of the larger independent brewers now have enough strength to support and survive takeover bids by the bigger beer companies, and that local nano breweries with their own tasting rooms or beer taps will be fine. He is, however, worried about the fate of those in between these two extremes, and the ones who have invested in fast expansion but are seeing volume growth in single figures for the first time in years. These are being targeted by the beer predators. Which moves me on to AB InBev. AB InBev bought Goose Island in 2011 and then set up a craft beer division called High End. Since 2011, High End has bought or is taking control of a number of craft brewers, including Blue Point Brewing in the New York State, Ben Brewing Company in Oregon, Elysium Brewing in Seattle, and Breckenridge Brewing in Colorado. AB InBev are not alone in this, as Miller, or more recently Sab Miller, have also acquired a number of US independents since 1988. The Czech brewery Pilsner Urquell in 1999, and the UK company Meantime Brewery in 2015. Sab Miller was then acquired by AB InBev in October 16, who then flogged Meantime and Pilsner Urquell to the Asahi Brewery of Japan. AB InBev have passed on two well-known breweries, but they are still acquiring others. In this piece, as this piece was being prepared, it was announced that High End had acquired Wicked Weed from North Carolina for AB InBev. Wicked Weed have been the winners of 6 US and international awards since the company was founded in 2012. So basically, AB InBev are just hoovering up the American competition by the sounds of it, and doing it through Miller and doing it through themselves. So, should we be worried here in the UK? Excuse me. Perhaps we should. In 2016, our friends from AB InBev bought Camden Town Brewery, Molson Coors owned Sharps of Cornwall. So Sharps Dunbar is now a national cask beer, still produced in Cornwall, though bottled Dunbar is produced in Burton-on-Trent. It's because it's owned by Marston's. Thwaite sold the rights to Wainwright and Lancaster Bomber to Marston's in 2015. These and Thwaite's own beers, Nutty Black and Original, are brewed by Marston's. Brewdog, I've had my rants with Brewdog over the past couple of weeks with them. Brewdog has received a $213 million investment from TSG Consumer Partners, an American private equity company, which has valued the company at £1 billion. Founders James Watt and Martin Dickey, along with other shareholders, could share up to $100 million of that investment between them. That's what I've reported through the Sunday Times. Now, obviously, as I've said before, Brewdog, where brewers of the people, working man's brewery, the original punk IPA had taken away a break from the norm, and quickly they've had this investment and, quite frankly, sellouts. But it's all mass produced, but it's what's in the bottle, and it still tastes good. Anyway, moving on. TSG now owns 20% of Brewdog, as well as holding a stake in the US craft beer Sweetwater Brewing, and in Pabst, P-A-B-S-T, a US beer business with 30 brands. Brewdog's new American investor has said it's on the hunt for more consumer brands. Perhaps this is not surprising that the brewery founders would want to try a nice return for all their hard work and long hours involved in starting up and running a successful business. But as we know, takeovers and mergers tend to reduce choice for the consumer. Just think about the state of the beer scene since the takeovers of the 70s and 80s in this country. Before the cask beer revolution, no one wants to see a return to those times, but we may be heading in that direction. In May, Carlsberg announced that they're looking to acquire a UK craft brewery so it can add to its portfolio of smaller brands. And they're looking to do this soon. And Carlsberg wants in on the beer revolution without having to work for it. And this is the problem. Carlsberg have got the skills. AB InBev have got the skills and the tools to make it themselves, but they choose not to. It's easiest to go and buy someone else. Carlsberg chief executive Julian Moman states that the company is now in the early stages of getting involved in the craft beer market, but plans to make more acquisitions if they can find the right brands. One reason these companies are doing this is that the mainstream lager brands are in decline, and the big internationals are losing sales, and the more interesting newcomers subsequently are either doing distribution deals. Carlsberg already has the rights to sell Brooklyn Lager in the UK, or are taking over independent breweries. So, to sum up then, don't believe what the supermarkets adverts say about new craft beer ranges, and support your local brewers. Many of them are internationally owned products. The craft beer bandwagon they've jumped on, made out to be an out of control juggernaut heading for your favourite brewery. I think that is a pretty good article. Merseyale. Anyway, that's I agree with this article, and that's my 2 cents worth. So again, as I say, I'll just put it out there. Feel free to comment, have a discussion, not a problem. Until next time, hail ale everybody, hail ale.